G'day folks, and welcome back to the channel for the start of a new series of Grim Dawn. It's been a little while, but I am back, and the first cab off the rank is the Blademaster. This time, I have a plan though. Now, this is a do-over for a series that I started a few months ago, and I learned a fair bit from that series. And one of the things I learned last time was that apparently Infiltrator is just a better version of the Belgothian Blademaster. However, the Blademaster is a little bit simpler, which seems like it's a good idea to me for more of a beginner type build. Now, by simpler, I don't mean that it is bad, just that it has less moving parts and is more suited to a beginner build. It will, for example, have a default attack replacer, which I'll cover what that is when we get to it, while you're leveling up, whereas the Infiltrator will have to go and find one of those on an item. So Soldier has cadence, basically, and Infiltrator does not have access to cadence or a cadence-like skill. And so the Infiltrator has to go and find it on an item, and the first one in the game has a notoriously trolly drop rate. That being, if you don't need it, you'll get it first time, and if you do need it, expect to kill Voldrak 15, 20 times before it drops. So we're going with Blademaster, and the Blademaster is a classic, basically, from the base game. It's a combination of Soldier and Nightblade. Fingers crossed the curse of the Nightblade has been broken. I've had several Nightblades that just died in hardcore, and then the last one is now a do-over, so we'll see how we go. But yeah, Blademaster, it's one of those classes that everyone played it years ago, they kind of figured it out, and now no one really looks at it. Case in point, the beginner's guide for a PS Blademaster on the Crate forums is 6 years old and hasn't been updated. So there's been a fair few changes to both of the classes, a lot of the items, piercing, conversion mechanics, all that sort of stuff. So again, I'll get into that when they become relevant. So let's go ahead and make a character. And 9-6 is going to be very happy because Stabitha is back. I'm going female because obviously with that name. I'm playing veteran, I'm playing hardcore. Now, this is a personal choice. I prefer the challenge of veteran. If you don't, just turn it off. It's fine. Nobody will know. Nobody should care. There won't be a huge difference. I'm going to go through areas decently quickly. So even though there is an XP bonus for killing things for me, I'm going to be killing a lot less than if you're kind of poking around and exploring. So if you want to play normal, there's nothing wrong with that. Go ahead and do it. I do have to put a disclaimer here, though. Death is permanent in hardcore. If you die on hardcore, your character here with this lovely golden glow will become a ghost with a white glow, and you will not be able to log into it, or you will not be able to play this character anymore. All the items you're wearing are gone, and you won't be able to play it. So if that doesn't sound fun to you, don't check the hardcore box. Okay, before we get going, a couple of UI things. I like the bigger map, so I'm going to put that up there. Also in the loot filter, I'm turning all of the white items off because honestly a white item is not a huge amount better than an empty slot, and magic items drop quite frequently, so we will fill those slots up quite nicely. Always show double rare I'm going to turn on. I'm also going to come in here to the key binding, and I will point out that there are a few things you want to have. Where are my healing potions? Here we go. So E and Q is what I have my potions on. It's been so long I couldn't tell you what the defaults are, and I think they've changed since the last time I used them. Just make sure they are in a place where you know where they are. Same with interact and pickup. Interact can be used to open doors. It can be used to activate a door to go through it. This is really useful if you're being swarmed by enemies and you can't click on the door because there's werewolves in the way or something like that. You can just press U and it will activate the closest in-game object that is not an enemy, so it doesn't attack. It will just activate things. And R is something that I wish every single ARPG would incorporate into their game. This allows you to pick up items at your character's feet without having to click on every single nameplate. So you don't have to go down the list and pick up all of these items one at a time. You just press R and it'll pick up an item. Press it again, pick up another item. Mouse 4 is where I have evade. I believe the default for this is spacebar, but it doesn't matter where it is as long as you know where it is and you are able to use it. We will have to evade attacks. It's also kind of okay as a movement skill. But when we start getting sundering attacks, you really don't want to get hit by those. I guess the only other thing to talk about is the loot filter. You can turn this on and off, and basically allows you to hide items when you are, for example, fighting a totem. You'll get 6 heroes, something like that. They all drop loot. Then they drop the little glowing bubble chest things. That's going to drop even more loot. So being able to turn it off so you can see what's going on is a really good thing. Now, normally here I would turn the camera and run up here and pick up the note. I'm going to do it the other way here just to kind of show that you don't need to turn the camera. Run next to this chest, click the note, your character will run over and pick it up. You can then eat it from your inventory, and hey presto, 50 XP, and we are most of the way through level 1. Now, this is the 4th time I've recorded this starting, and each time I've done it, I've ended up with about 10 minutes of waffle at the start here, explaining why I'm doing the method of leveling that I'm going to do. I'm just going to chuck the points in here, and I'll explain it now. The best way to level anything at all, anything, it doesn't matter what your second class is, it doesn't matter what your final build is, if you have Soldier in your build, the best way to level it is Force Wave. You can level it with Blitz. You can level it with Cadence. You can do a lot of things, but Force Wave is better. I mean, to be fair, Fireball from the component skill is better than Cadence. But we're not going to do that because this is not a Force Wave build. So we're going to go dual wield, and the less bad option for early Nightblade leveling while dual wielding is cold damage. Because you get the ghost swords, the ghost axes, the ghost maces from early in Act 2 that give you a decent amount of cold damage. They give you weapons with cold base damage. You have skills that do cold damage, and it's just generally a lot easier than piercing. However, I don't know why I picked this up. We're getting the axes. However, this is a piercing build, and there are level 15 swords available that do piercing damage. So we are going to do that in spite of it being not quite as good as cold and significantly worse than Force Wave. But this is not a Force Wave build, so we're going to do that. Let's go ahead and chuck that in. This axe here, the Almond's axe, is always in this corpse right here. And in fact, we're going to exit the menu and go and get a second one. Also, I did put my skill points in for the previous level, but I didn't spend my attribute points. Now, there's a couple different schools of thought here. The first one is chuck 5 points in Spirit, so you don't have to worry about running out of energy, or you have to worry about it less. And then you start working on Physique and Cunning. I'm actually going to go straight for Physique, because I've leveled this character a couple of times now, still not going for the two-handed sword. I've leveled this character a couple times now through Act 1, and every single time I've noticed that I have very low health when I do Spirit first. So 100 per level is kind of considered the acceptable minimum, I guess. So we are just above the acceptable minimum. Now, it's not a hard and fast rule. We are dual wielding these axes now, by the way. So 100 per level is not a hard and fast rule. However, it is a good ballpark for, okay, you have less than 100 per level, you probably need to go and find some more hit points. Like I said, not a hard and fast rule, but decent ballpark number. We're coming up on 400, we're about to be level 4, that's probably fine. Now, I am putting extra points into dual blades here. I didn't do this, I think, the first time I leveled this character, and that might be part of why I was constantly complaining about low damage early on. Because this adds flat piercing damage, that gets added onto both of your weapons. So if we chuck default attack here, you'll see we get Fizz, Pierce, and Cold. Cold because the weapons are cold, Physical because the weapons have physical, and then Piercing is entirely from the dual blade skill. So we'll get more and more piercing from that. I'm pretty much going to max that out up. See, I have a plan for where the skill points are going, but I have a feeling I'm going to deviate a little bit. I'm undecided if I'm going to max it out completely, or if I'm going to just put in sort of 8 points, 10 points, something like that, just to get it started. But the extra damage early on is very, very useful. This is Faldus. If you just put your mouse at the top of the bottom option, or sorry, the bottom of the top option, and spam click, you will select all of the correct choices and you will send him back to town. More physique because we're level 4 and I don't have 400 hit points. One thing I should be doing actually is looking at these. The regen and 10% cunning is pretty nice, so I think I'm going to leave that. This has more armor, has some health. Yeah, we're going to use those. Even though these do have resistances, which are quite nice. Ideally I want attack speed on my gloves, but don't have those just yet. I will be getting that fairly early on. The other thing about the dual blades is it's kind of a twofer. You get physical resistance out of it, which means anything that hits you with physical damage, which is the majority of the large attacks in this game. And the majority of, these zombies are hitting me for physical damage, for example. Getting physical resistance is, one, quite difficult. There are not a lot of sources of it. And also, it's quite powerful. So I definitely want to get some more of that. Now, it doesn't scale anywhere near as high as it used to. You used to be able to get, I think it was 16%, something like that. The scaling is much reduced now. You don't get anywhere near as much, but it is still good. Alright, let's take out the 8th crystals. We need these for a quest, we need these for a devotion shrine, and we're just going to need tons of them anyway. So, get some now. Kill off the crystals. All of the zombies that they summon immediately die. Speaking of things that need to immediately die, the eyeballs are really, really dangerous early on because you have probably 0% lightning resistance. They're going to hit you quite hard. Okay, continuing with 1 point in the bar and 1 point in each of these, we're getting to the point now where, let me just check that, yeah. So 3% fizz res up to 4% fizz res. The next point in here, we still have 4%, and then we have 5%. So we're getting 1% physical resistance per 2 points. I'm pretty sure at 8 points, sorry, this used to be 10%, and we're going to have 6. So it's considerably less good. We are going to do this. I will be getting Veil of Shadow as well. Actually, let's get that now. The main reason you want this is for the Knight's Chill, which is the resistance shredding, but getting 1 point early doesn't hurt. Having anything around you be slowed down is not a bad thing. See there the ice spikes from the axes, which is pretty good. I spent that already. Okay, I don't really have a ring yet, so I could put this... Well, I was going to say I could put this on my helmet, but I don't have a helmet. I could put it on the chest, but it's kind of a waste at the moment. Alright, we're going in. I'm going to fight Kaisog. Now, Kaisog, I like to be level 5 before I fight Kaisog. It doesn't really matter, especially if you're playing along on normal. Just go ahead and kill him. If you're playing on normal, everything I'm about to say doesn't matter. Just hold your left click down on him and he'll die. If you're playing on veteran though, you want to go in there and find the soldier. So the soldier is the big chunky guy. If you see a white cloud running at you, that's the soldier, and be ready to evade the attack that's coming. So find the soldier, here he is, get in his face and kill him first. Then we want to make sure we stay out of the green goop. So the glowing green goop is not where we want to stand. That is going to give us damage over time if we're standing in it. And then we hold left click on Kaisog. Now if you see green zombies, he's going to be raising, you can see the normal zombies there. If you see green zombies, you need to go and kill them because they'll throw even more green goop on the ground. He went down really quickly there, so he didn't really have time to summon the green zombies. But just take my word for it, he does summon green zombies, and you do want to kill them quickly because they will add to the goop on the ground. He'll always drop this. Now's a good time, I guess, to explain what a monster infrequent item is. And that's this one. This is a an item that is dropped infrequently from a specific monster or type of monster. There are a few other things that it can mean, but generally speaking, it's a base item, and you'll see the Kaisog skull there is kind of a dirty green color, whereas Ullman's axe, which is also technically a monster infrequent, but you'll see that this is a rare item rather than a monster infrequent for some reason. And the darker color indicates that this is a rare level monster infrequent. You can have epic and legendary monster infrequents, and they have a different color. If you are using the rainbow filter mod, which I strongly recommend everybody should get, if you're playing on Xbox, then rip bozo, I guess. Definitely the best argument I've ever heard for playing on PC is mods. Especially rainbow filter is a godsend while you are learning. Probably not such a big deal once you know what the items are. Okay, so monster infrequent from Kaisog is this offhand. Ignore the blue stuff there, that's not normally on this item. Everything else is part of the base item. And so if you happen to be playing Kalidor's Tempest, then perhaps you would want this. It's not good for us though. Chilled Steel is a component. I'm going to chuck one on each hand as I get another one. Honestly, I'll probably pick it up and then forget, so hopefully I can remember. The Chilled Steel is the cold damage component. It will give you the ability to cast Ice Spike it manually. I'm not going to do that though. I want to be a stabby guy, or a stab fella. Stabbatha. We're going to stab things with the pointy bit on the axe. We're not going to slash them. Okay, Ruined Shrine. We're going to feed it an Aether Crystal. It's going to give us some loot, which we're not going to use. And it's also going to give us the start of our third class. So in Grim Dawn, you get 2 classes, or 2 masteries, as they're referred to, and that will give you your class. So at the moment we're a Nightblade because we only have 1. When we take Soldier, which won't be for a while, this will change to Blademaster. Devotions are basically your 3rd class. They don't change what your character is called, but they are effectively your 3rd class. Now in Act 1, I'm going to take some regen stuff. Regeneration in Act 1 is incredibly powerful. You can, and I'm going to show you how, get to the point where you can stand in the Act boss's face, do absolutely nothing, and never die. So that's what we're going for. And as soon as we kill Warden Krieg, we're going to be taking those points out. Actually, maybe a little bit after that. But we will be taking those points out and spending them in piercing stuff. Probably around level 15, 20, something like that. Okay, got another level up there. I do want to get rid of these things first. And want to get towards Pneumatic Burst as well. I like the buff because total speed, but also Pneumatic Burst will give us some healing and also some regeneration. Alright, Physique is up to 4 now. I am thinking about Cunning at this point, and I am thinking about Spirit at this point. We are going to start running into energy issues if we keep putting more points into Amarasta's Blade Burst. And we are going to start running into offensive ability issues. You can see we have 93.5% chance to hit a random zombie. If we had a boss in front of us, it would probably be mid-80s hit chance. So more offensive ability, which comes from Cunning, would be good. Cunning also, if you read the description there, improves your physical, piercing, bleeding, and internal trauma damage. We are going to be a piercing build, so Cunning is our damage stat. Physique is our health and defensive ability stat. So I'm going to prioritize this a little bit less. Defensive ability is not a massive deal for us. Okay, I do want to get Pneumatic Burst at this point. And I'm going to put that on button 4 just because habit. What this does is it gives you a heal when you push the button, and then it also applies a buff that lasts long enough that you should never not have it active. And the buff will give you some offensive ability, so our hit chance just went up. And not by much by the looks of it, but it did go up. Some health regen, and then some total speed. Total speed is run speed, attack speed, and cast speed all rolled into one stat. It's really, really good. If you can get total speed, you probably want to get the total speed. Alright, there's my next chilled steel. That's going to get me some more damage. We're doing okay for damage. So we'll run up here, and we're going to run into, I guess, our second quest boss in this house here. Now, I probably should have led him down here so he can fight the wrist scourges, but I would have ended up killing them all anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I'm going to clear the area, and the best way, honestly, to kill Pharos the Rotted is to run past him, which will lock his level at the level you found him at, and then come back towards the end of Act 1 and kill him in 2 hits. However, he does have a little loot bauble when you kill him, and I do like loot, so we're going to go and do that. Also, apparently he has friends. Now, in Veteran, he is going to be a little bit of a meat shield, but we are going to just move out of the way of his attacks. And you dodge his vomit. You can either evade it, or you can run around him. I'm going to dodge. And then that's all you have to worry about. If you can dodge that, you'll take much less damage. So just keep an eye on his animation, and you can dodge the poison. The poison is honestly the main threat if you're in melee range. If you're at long range, he will do... Actually, that is the main threat. If you're at long range, you saw him throw the little green balls long distance. Those can shotgun you, so you definitely don't want to be standing in those. Warchief's Glory is actually pretty good. This is not going to be a no green or a no blue or no random purple item run. Serrated Spike, we definitely want to hang on to those. So I will be using blues for this particular run. That one is quite good. I will probably end up using it if I don't accidentally sell it or forget about it. Alright, let's duck in here and grab these and take those out. The swarms of, I guess, flies or bees or whatever they are, actually immune to cold damage, which is something that we will... Actually, is there any piercing immune? I don't think there's any piercing immune stuff early on. But the undead in Act 2 are mildly resistant to piercing damage. Now, I'm getting slammed here, probably because I don't have those white items that I refuse to look at in my empty slots. There's level 7. I like to take Pneumatic Burst straight up to 5 points. The more points in here, the more regeneration you get, the more total speed you get, the more offensive ability, which is your chance to hit and your chance to crit, and the bigger the heal is. So I like having 5 points in there. 5 points is not the point at which scaling gets weird, which you'll hear me talk about with other skills. At least I don't think it is. But 5 points is just where I have stopped, and it's more or less habit at this point. Alright, I'm going to, I think, put a couple points into Spirit here. Also going to check these belts. The extra armor would be nice, but I think I want that physique, actually. The regen on the other one, though, is really nice. I'll leave it for now. Alright, so we'll head north here. We do have, you can see here, the Whitemire Rift. The Whitemire Rift is a very dangerous fight early, because there are a lot of undead soldier / rotting Ember Guard, I think they are. Basically, they are soldiers with fire damage. They'll pop out of the ground, and they can potentially one-round you, I guess you'd call it. They have big wind-up attacks that can really, really hurt your health bar, especially on Veteran. I mean, especially in general. If you see a white cloud coming towards you, it's really going to hurt if that attack lands. So definitely be careful. See, I nearly died there. I did say they can be dangerous. Alright, let's get... There we go. White cloud. 2 white clouds. They both missed, which is nice. Had to use evade there to get out of that other one. And I think I'm probably fine now. Anything that has kind of fiery look about it in Act 1 will explode when you kill it. So keep that in mind as well. Did I get any necklaces? I didn't get any necklaces. And my inventory is getting a little full, so I'll probably be going back to town here in a minute. I usually tend to go back in town around about the point where I'm killing Milton. Milton is just around the corner, so kind of tracking with where I normally go back to town for the first time. We'll have some conversation pie to eat and some quest rewards to collect, including an extra skill point for Kasparov. Okay, there's a Slith necklace. This is what I've been looking for. So the blue Slith, not this guy here, I guess it's more of a green, isn't it? The bluey green ones can drop these. Now, getting 2 of them this early is a little surprising. Don't get me wrong, I'll take it. But it is a little surprising to get 2 of them this early. Usually it takes a little while to get them. Now, you want to get at least 3, potentially 6. And, I mean, I guess if you really want to be thorough about it, if you get 9, you will never need another one. Okay, this guy's got his little lightning aura active. So when you see him go like super lightning like this, yeah, melee is the last place you want to be. He'll also do, I thought it was going to be that attack. He'll do an attack where he shoots a handful of stars at you. It's going to stun you, slow you down, all that sort of stuff. Not that one. Go on, do the thing. Do the thing. He doesn't want to do it. Alright, once his aura goes down, I'll just kill him. The aura's not gone down, but we're doing it anyway. So I'm just going to beat on him, and you'll notice that everything around him just kind of dies as it runs over, which is really good. Health is getting a little low. I'm standing in the lightning aura, which is not a good idea. But anyway, here we are. Also, it probably helps if you turn the loot back on. Okay, here we have another item with a guaranteed rare item in it, or another chest. Technically it's a body, but we're calling it a chest. This one, not so good for this build, but it is a pretty good one to have for a lot of other builds. Alright, Aether Crystal here. I can see Milton. I can see I'm getting hit by fireballs, which I don't love. Like I said, when you have really low resistances, anything doing elemental damage can be quite painful. Alright, here's Milton Heart. Milton is another one of the flavored zombies that we have to kill. And Milton is a soldier. Now, the best place to kill him is melee range, because then he won't charge at you. So you'll just get standard attacks, you'll get the fire breath, and I think he does the stun, where he shoots the 3 little stars at you. But in melee range, he won't do his charge, his big wind-up attack that will delete 3/4 of your health bar in one go. You're going to see his health, yep, there it is. You're going to see his health jump up, and now he's regenerating. This is a soldier skill that we unfortunately will not be able to use. Because we are dual wielding, we will be unable to use the soldier skills that require a 2-hander or a shield. Unfortunately, they're really good skills. Alright, let's pick up what we can. Looks like not much. How serious are you about not being able to carry that? Looks pretty serious. Okay. Like I said, about now is when I tend to go back to town. So we have some conversation pie here. John Whiskey gives us some quests. I'm going to vendor all of this stuff. Now, as far as things to keep, Milton's casque is the best helmet in Act 1. As soon as you get to level 12, put this on and just ignore helmets from that point on until Act 2. I am checking for weapons as well. One-handed weapons that have a plus DPS that's green can be good. I'm looking for belts because, let's actually check the belts here. I'm looking specifically for a belt with approximately 20 flat health regeneration on it. And if it happens to have percentage physique or cunning, or percentage health, then even better. I'm looking for gloves that have attack speed. So, hey, look at that. I should have checked the armor on those gloves, but I'll be honest, I don't care. I want the attack speed. Don't need that. That's not an upgrade. That's casting, which I don't need. Definitely don't need guns. Don't need 2-handers. Now, there is a very good chance that your Barog's Bloody Arm will be a green upgrade for DPS, so you definitely should have a look at it. And I think I'm kind of done there. I don't need that either. Okay, picked up Heart's Amulet from, you guessed it, Mr. Hart. And let's go ahead and take that to 5. I'm going to put 1 point in Belgothian Shears. With a name like that on the Belgothian Piercing Blademaster, we definitely want to get some of this. This is what's called a weapon pool skill. You will not find that term anywhere in the game. This is a forum term, or I guess we'd call it a meta term. But basically, any skill you see that has that orange text there that says activates off of default weapon attacks. Any default weapon attack, either the actual, actual weapon attack can activate it, and later on we will get cadence, and that will also be able to activate it. All of those skills have a percentage chance to be used. Those add up, and once you get to 100%, additional points do not give you additional chance to trigger. If you have 150% chance cumulative from 6 different skills, you don't have a 50% chance to get 2 of them. It will scale back down to 100%. You will always get 1 of them, but you can't get 2. So we want to keep an eye on that percentage chance to be used. But for now, this is the only one we have, so we're going to go with that. And I'm going to put a few more points in Dual Blades. I think I may not fully max this out, but that flat piercing damage is really good. All right, let's eat our conversation pie. Harmond here has some scrap for me for agreeing to do something. Nope, I lied, it's just iron. Maybe the scrap is the second reward. All right, Kasparov here, we gave him an Aether Crystal. He gave us a skill point. Pretty good, in my opinion. Maximum health for this character is very, very low. Definitely needing a few more hit points. So we've got the Sister's Amulet of Life-Giving. This is a really good early amulet, especially when you consider you're wearing a bag of salt currently, which does give you less damage from ethereals, but we can throw that on the floor and pretend it didn't exist. The other thing to do fairly early on is to come up here and talk to Sardina. You don't have to do anything with her just yet, but get the 100 XP, I think it was, while 100 XP is still kind of relevant. And we are not quite at the point where we get a level, so that's fine. We've got some more stuff to go and stab. I'll pick up the rest of the loot. Right, so Milton can be in here. This is the Whitemire Rift. Run down here. Milton can be in this house. He can be in this house like he was for me. And he can also, if he's not in one of those 2 places, he will be over here around this house. So you will find him in one of those 3 places. Definitely kill him, because his hat is the best hat in the act, and the Sister's Amulet is quite good for a starting amulet. It's the first guaranteed amulet in the game, I think, and definitely worth getting. Okay, I need the stats at this point. I need the health. So as much as I really do want more damage, we are doing okay damage, and I am quite low on health, so I'm going to put some more points in physique as well. A lot of this will kind of benefit us, I guess, when we get Soldier. The very first skill on the Soldier tree just here is a percentage increase to your physique, which is health, and your health, which is health. All right, something to say about totems. This is an Aether Warp totem. It's probably fine. Early on, though, I'm very squishy, and I don't think they're worth doing early. Now, I don't really have empty slots. Technically, I have an empty helmet, and I don't have any rings yet. Medals, you kind of need level 14 for most of them, and relics will get in Act 2. But I do still have default starting chest and legs. I don't have a huge amount of damage. I'm not tanky. I'm going to stay away from that for now. Probably it would be fine, but probably it's fine is a really good way to end up dead in hardcore, so I'm just not going to. You can definitely do it, but I'm just going to not. We're going to go kill Negan instead. He's taking a timeout from The Walking Dead to play as an actual Walking Dead. Anyhow, there's probably a better joke in there, but I can't think of it. One thing we want to be watching out for from him is that. So Negan had Mexican for dinner last night. Here's the Ring of Fire. And probably it'd be okay to stand in it. We've got a decent amount of regeneration. But it's kind of not worth standing in it. He's going to put it up here again in a second. There it is. Let's just see how it goes. Yeah, I've probably got enough regen that I can stand in it. Give me that hat. Alright, look. You're in the way, Negan. Okay, now give me that hat. And we've picked up a rare item as well. So, Warding of Caged Souls would be amazing if I was playing a Necromancer. I am going to hang on to it though, because that does have Aether and Bleeding resistance on it, which are two big resistances for the Act boss. So that's worth keeping just for that alone. I'll probably forget to use it, or I'll sell it before I get there by accident. But at least at this point, for Krieg, you want Piercing, Bleeding, and Aether resistance. Not in that order. You want Aether, then you want Bleeding and Piercing, kind of whatever. But Aether is the big one. Okay, we've made it to the Foggy Bank Rift. We want to head to the left. There's another devotion point over here. And there's also the very first set of guaranteed rare shoulder pads, which we do want to get our hands on. And I'm still looking for... Nope, he didn't drop it. I was kind of hoping if I said it, he would drop it. I'm still looking for another Slith necklace. Ironically, a bunch of necklaces get you a ring. Come on, give me a necklace. Nope. Unfortunate. That's alright, there's a few more Slith holes down here. You will only get the drop from the blue Slith. You can see there's one down here throwing ice balls at me, because that's what the blue ones do. Okay, and I still don't have my third one. That's fine. You kind of don't expect to have 3 of them until sort of mid to late Act 1. And we are going into a Slith hole later on, where we will fight pretty much nothing but Slith. I guess there's the first section with undead and spiders and stuff too. Okay, another Devotion Shrine. Just going to clear the area. Devotion Shrines and Totems, if you're going to do them in hardcore, make sure you clear the area first. You definitely don't want friends deciding to come and visit while you're fighting a whole bunch of heroes. This body up here also has a guaranteed poison dagger on it. So if you want to, you can use that. It's not as good as almonds for us though. Alright, so Desecrated Shrine, they're red, and these ones you have to fight. So summon what's trapped within, yes. Looks like we got a couple of more sort of chunky blue ones. And we got this Deep Mire champion. Let's go ahead and hit that healing potion, get some regeneration and some healing. Alright, there we go. We got a ring. That's pretty good. I'm going to start on the lizard here. So lizard is basically regeneration, the constellation. So we get 8 health regen. Next point in here, we get some health, some move speed, some more regen. And then we get some health percentage increase, health regen, healing effect increase. It's all really good early tanking stuff. And then after that, I think we're getting the fox, but I'll have to check. Okay, not using that, not high enough level for that. The rest of my gear is fine. Now, ordinarily, you could just rift back to the Foggy Bank and be on your way. In fact, that's what I should be doing because I already have shoulders. However, we will go and pick up Isaac's Spaulders. Now, I'm not going to go and get the quest. If you want to get the quest, there is a house kind of here-ish. You can go in the house. There will be a trapdoor in the house. Go into the trapdoor. There's a very small dungeon. It's basically 3 rooms. There's a bunch of cultists in there. You can kill them. You can talk to the corpse in waiting at the end. Its name is Isaac. He will tell you about this island that we're going into here. From the Foggy Bank Rift, just run along there. You will find this island sort of hanging off the side of the Whitemire. And in the middle of it, you will find... I don't have any damage over time. How rude. Alright, you get to die first. In the middle of the island, you will find Isaac's stash. And he will always... That's some nice stuff. That's actually pretty good. Impervious. Okay, we have some pants finally. He will always have these shoulders. These shoulders always have retaliation on them, and they've got a random affix. The thing I like them for is the 71 armor. That's quite good early on. Yellow is always better than white. Although, having said that, these are kind of pants. Actually, yeah, they are kind of pants. They're not good. Okay, level 10. You can pick your second class. So we could become a Blademaster right now, but we're going to stick with Nightblade. We'll take Soldier, probably mid-30s, maybe even 40. I'm going to put 1 point in Phantasmal Armor. Any source of armor you get that is not an actual piece of armor, a piece of equipment you put on, is applied to every piece of your armor. So, quick armor tutorial. First column there is a chance that that area gets hit with physical damage. Second column is the effective armor of that piece. So my helmet does not actually have 61 armor. It has 34. But because of Phantasmal Armor, whatever it was, plus 24, we're going to be 58. 61, okay, I've got some extra armor from somewhere else as well. It's probably a percentage on the amulet? I don't know. I've got some extra armor from somewhere else. And then the third column is armor absorption. This is the percentage of the enemy attack that you can apply your armor rating to. So if you get hit in, for example, my helmet, if I get hit in the helmet for 100 damage, and I have 100 armor, I can only apply that armor to 70 of the damage. The other 30 goes straight through. This is not quite a damage multiplier, or just a multiplier applied to your armor, but you can kind of pretend that it is, and you won't be super far off. Damn, that's a lot of cunning. So as I say, it's not a multiplier of your armor, but it kind of works pretty close to that. Either way, we want some more of it, and we'll be getting some towards the end of Act 1. Okay, so we're into the Foggy Bank here, and that little pop-up there, that was the game telling me that there's a merchant who's been captured in this area. So we're going to go and find him as soon as I get my... Oops, necklace. Lovely. Okay, I've got 3. It is worth collecting a few more of those, so I'm not immediately going to go and turn it in. This little section here, this is potentially where the merchant is. There's 4. Ideally, I want 6. I mean, in a perfect world, I want 9, but, you know, let's not be greedy. 6 is good. Anything more than 3 is okay. So merchant could be down here. He could be up here. He is up here. You can see him on the map there. That star, that's my merchant. So I'm going to have him in my town, and he's going to sell me all kinds of items with percentage and flat regeneration on them, and it's going to be great. One thing I will say about my good friend here is you don't want to extort him. So Luther is going to be your permanent Act 1 merchant. The other Act 1 merchant is going to have a spoiler happen to him and will no longer be in Act 1. So we can basically just take the top options. Don't try and take his money. You want him to give you good prices. So just send him back to town and be on your way. Okay, I do now have more than enough of these Slith necklaces. I think that's... Is that 5 or 6 now? We're up to 6. Okay. I'm just going to stop right here. Actually, I'm not. Over here is the third location. We'll go get the necklace in a minute. Or the ring, sorry. This is the third location where he can be. Just over here to the west. Okay, you are really being irritating. Okay, you can see this, I was going to say, that's supposed to be an entrance. Totem popped up while I was mousing over it. You can see this cave over here. This is more or less where you need to go. He'll be just here above the cave if you haven't already found him. I have found him, so my merchant's not there. Do continue picking up yellow items as well. We're going to be doing a decent amount of crafting at the end of Act 1, and you're going to need iron bits, basically. Alright, we'll head north. I'll just pop my head into the cave up here, grab the rift, and then we'll go turn in the Slith necklace because the ring you get from it is quite good. It will be probably one of the rings we use for a little while, most likely until we get to... that's the wrong rift gate. Until we get to Homestead. So we want to go to the White Mire and make sure we have the move speed buff from Pneumatic Burst active, and we just want to more or less hug the left side here. You'll see this merchant here, this roving merchant will pop up on your map. That's where we're going, but we will need to hug the left side here, walk up this little pathway, and then we can talk to Torvin. What might that be? Will these necklaces suffice? You can click on the tick, it'll close the conversation, give you the quest, and you talk to him again, or you can just do it this way. Okay, so we have picked up the Sly Primal ring. 3 good resistances, extra damage to Beastkin, which are everywhere through the entire game, energy regeneration, and percentage energy regeneration. This is really, really nice, and I'm going to take this one off and put it on. Now, it's not the best ring in the game, but it is quite good, so I'm going to use that for a decent little while. Right, so usually about this time, I'll head back to Devil's Crossing. I don't think we have any more... we have some conversation pie to eat. Is Luther. Thank you. Hammond, is this the scrap? Yep, there's a scrap. Alright. Now we need 6 scrap. I've got 10, more than enough. And I am going to check here for additional weapons. I'm checking the DPS on these weapons. I'm looking at belts as well. Belts, rings, amulets. I want health regeneration. So if you type in TH space RE, that's going to give you all of the items that have health regeneration on them. Now, mending, you could also search for mending. That would do the same thing. And in fact, that's probably the better way to do it, because if you get to the rings here, you'll see this charged copper band has health regeneration on it. Every copper band comes with health regeneration. Every gold band comes with health regeneration. But only some of them come with 23 health regenerated and 2 resistances that are kind of okay. So I'm going to take that one, actually. I want that regeneration. I don't really care so much for the Sister's Amulet. Sister's Amulet is an okay one to start with, but we can definitely do better. I'm also going to have a look for some cold damage stuff. These are going to be minor upgrades mostly, I think. Yeah. I think that's fine. We'll just keep these for now. We will have new weapons at level 15, but we're not there yet. Alright, so Barnabas here. Is this enough scrap? So he just took 6 scrap to give us some XP and some bits. It's not a good trade, but anyway, you have to do it. It's a main campaign quest, so you don't have a choice. Alright, down here, we want to just get through this kind of as quick as we can. Actually, I want to kill these because I'm nearly high enough level to get Shadow Strike, which will actually get me through this a decent bit quicker than just running past everything. Alright, we got Razorback, which could be good. There's level 10. Actually, let's just take a quick break here. Definitely want that, and I'll take that one as well. Let's go ahead and put Shadow Strike on here. Shadow Strike is a pretty big nuke. If you're focusing on it, it's an incredibly big nuke. If you're just using it as a movement skill, which is what I'm going to be doing, then it's still decent. Also allows you to get around fairly quickly. And later on we will put an AoE on it, and 2 more heroes. Okay, this could be good, could be a little dangerous. What are you, Shan the Cursed? Okay, 2 rare drops, that's pretty good. Tempest of Alacrity is really good for gloves. Tempest being elemental damage, Alacrity being attack speed. So I definitely want those. Also got the Rampage Mantle. Let's have a look at that. Around about the same armor, less offensive ability, different / worse resistances. Okay, we're not using that. These gloves are just straight up better, so yes. And we're not level 12 yet, so unfortunately we can't use that. Let's get another point in spirit here. So you can see now my regen is really starting to tick up. We are at 158 regen a second. So around about 200 a second is what you need to be immune to being killed by the boss of Act 1. You can be one-shot if he has too many friends and you happen to get hit a lot very, very rapidly. But once you have about 200 a second in regeneration, the boss itself can't hurt you, or it can't kill you. So that's kind of what I'm going for. Okay, these guys do a decent amount of damage, especially if they all kind of align their little spiky bits at the same time. That'll do me. The ranged ones, the poison spear spitting ones, are quite painful. Generally speaking, ranged attackers do a decent amount of damage. Alright, we'll keep working our way through here. Now, I've already turned in the quest for the Slith ring, or sorry, what's it called? Yeah, the Slith Primal ring. I've already turned that in, so unfortunately I won't be seeing any more drops. But I already have the 3 that I need for, well, probably Elite. But I may skip the Elite one and just go straight into Ultimate. So we could just go straight into Ultimate, turn the quest in fairly close to immediately once we get there, and get some XP. You can see that more or less dying in one hit, whereas if you're not using Shadow Strike, it's a couple of hits. Okay, I'm definitely starting to notice the energy. Energy is becoming an issue. Okay, around about now, I'm fairly confident that I can do this. It is a Forsaken one, so we'll see. I may end up having to abort. Alright, something to know about these Golems is they really, really hurt. If you run out of melee range, they will kill you. Turns out, confidence is not enough to kill them. If I see him throw a rock at me, I really cannot get hit by that. Also, these guys apparently really, really hurt. Okay, I'm just going to kite him around. The big golem guy. I'm going to wait for him to throw his rock. Assuming he actually does it. Alright. You know what? We'll just kill him. So I was kind of correct in that I can do the totem. There's a huge amount of XP. Both of the heroes in this case, or all of the heroes, will drop a bunch of items. The totem itself will also have a present for me up here. You're not guaranteed blues or anything. This is... okay. 5% offensive ability. Let's actually have a look at this. My offensive ability, 411. 422. Okay, so this is technically a little bit better. I will be losing a little bit of damage from not having the percentage on cunning, but I'm kind of okay with that. And this one has more armor. I am now going to put a scavenge plating on that, which is going to give me 15 more armor on all my other slots, because belt is not one of these slots. So any armor coming from your belt is applied to all of the other ones. This is probably better. I don't have the stats to wear it, though. Okay. Let's just continue doing this. I'm still well below kind of acceptable levels of... where did that chest go? There it is. Acceptable levels of health, which is not great. I would like to wear these, but I need the additional armor. that is considerably better, so we can finally toss that weapon. And Milton's hat is a good bit of more armor, and more importantly, the extra damage to ethereals. And a little bit of Aether Resist, not really super helpful early, but will be great later. That is really good. Offensive ability, way more armor, and a pile of physique. Pretty happy with that. Okay, and let's go ahead and chuck one of those on there as well. We're still kind of doing cold damage. This is all fire, but at this point we don't have any resistance shredding, so we just take whatever. Damage is damage at this point. Cue the Mr. Incredible meme, where he's pointing at the desk. Damage is damage. Okay. Veloth the Corruptor is either the first or the second enemy you will fight that can sunder you. So, let's just see it. Big orange skull above her head. There it is. That attack. I tried to get hit by it. I will get hit by the next one. Here we go. Here it comes. Do it. Do it. Okay. You can see here, Sundered, take 30% more damage. This is not just 30% more damage from Veloth, this is 30% more damage from every source. So when you're Sundered, you take a lot of extra damage. Now, for Veloth, it's not so big of a deal. Same also for the other potential first source of Sunder in the game, that being the big golem in the cave that I poked my head into to get the waypoint and then left. Neither one of them really has any follow-up damage for this. So as long as you didn't bring a whole bunch of friends to the fight for them to take advantage of that extra damage, you should be more than fine to just ignore it. I prefer to evade it anyway, just to try and not get into the habit of just tanking stuff like this. It's not the end of the world if you do just tank it early on, but later on it can be the end of the world. I have definitely died while Sundered. Okay, Veloth's Ring. Potentially very good. That flat acid damage can be quite good. The Aether Resistance is nice. The +3 to Amarasta's Blade Burst is quite nice as well. I think I will wear that. So we've got 2 rare rings now. If you have a ring with, 14 to 20 regeneration on it, I probably wouldn't use this. The regen is very nice. I would prefer the regen. At least in Act 1. Once we get to Act 2, we'll kind of stop focusing on regen. Gold Band, no. Okay. Ruined Shrine, this is another feed me an Aether Crystal kind of thing. That's a shield. Boots. Those are going on my feet. Ideally, I want run speed. If I found a yellow pair of boots and all they had was run speed, I would wear it. You can carry more, you're just putting things in weird spots. See, watch this. There you go, you can pick that up. And round shield, I think, is 6. Yep. Okay. We're going to come back up here to the Lizard. There's another 50 health, 16 health regeneration, and a little bit more move speed. Move speed does have a cap, but it's 135%, and we've got 109, so we're nowhere near it. We do, however, have almost 200 health regeneration per second, so we are looking very nice for being able to just stand in the boss's face and not care about his damage. Now I am going to go ahead and sell pretty much all of this stuff. I'll hang on to that belt, although I suspect I may not be using it. That amulet I want to hang on to. I'm not going to use cold stuff later anyway. Yeah, that's not very good. Okay, we can just vendor all the rest of this stuff. And a little trick here, if you want to get any items with mending, you can search in the sell thing. So if you just vendor everything, you can then search through this. You do have a maximum, I think, of 20 items that will show here. So if you sell too many, yeah, don't sell too many. We're getting close to 14. I could buy that. It is a little bit expensive. That's a quarter of my iron bits. So ideally I don't want to. 16 armor, percentage health, health regeneration. I am going to buy that. And I should keep this to get that scavenge plating back, but I have 5. I think I'll be okay. Famous last words, I'll probably have to buy some more of those. Also, at this point, I'm going to put polished diamonds on my rings. I definitely could put corpse dust on them. In fact, I probably should put corpse dust on them for that extra percentage health and the health regeneration. I am sort of looking for regeneration rings. So let's see if we've got any... Shouldn't be searching for mending anymore either. Because there are additional affixes. It's not just mending, there's another one as well that I'm blanking on the name for, but that's quite good. Percent spirit. That's fine. Alright, what's my regen up to now? We're over 100, so the axe boss will be fine. We can get some more regen on the metal, but that'll have to wait till next episode. This is going to be the end of part 1, so I'd like to thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and goodbye for now.